Morning, GM. Well, good afternoon. This is the Morning Mint. I'm Hunter Orel, and we have a late show for you today. But instead of scrapping it and not doing it, I thought because of everything we see in the market today, it is certainly worth still doing the show. I'm excited to chat. I've got a couple things to go over. I want to talk mostly today about where the money is moving. I think that's been a pretty strong theme over the last 72 hours. Seen a lot happen over the weekend. Pretty crazy weekend. You know the bull market's back when it's a Saturday night, and instead of going out and seeing friends and hanging out, you are trading shitcoins and using Solana bots and in the most degenerate chats of all time. So we're definitely back in a bull market, but I thought we would go through what I saw over the weekend, Friday, and what I've seen today. Obviously, this is not the morning, but we're still doing the show. And we'll go through some stuff, and I'll share some thoughts, and hopefully it helps you out. Thanks for joining in. If you haven't already, and you haven't joined these shows before, my name is Hunter Orel. I do a morning show every single day, usually 11 a.m. Eastern time, but when I can't, I make it happen no matter what. We're not going to miss another day, even when I'm traveling. Yeah, Twixie's putting out the obvious. Again, it's not morning, but we're still doing the show because I'm not stopping. Let's just jump into some of the stuff that I see, and it's going to be a little different, right? Because usually you get my kind of like, hey, here's what the rest of the day is going to look like. The morning started off pretty solid for everybody. Everybody waking up, and I actually went to bed last night placing a 50x long on Bitcoin just because for the memes. Everybody woke up to a pretty solid move as around like 2 a.m. Eastern time, 3 a.m. Eastern time, we did have a large move up on Bitcoin and Ethereum. A lot of buying happening there. And again, we're sticking above it, finally breaking through the 70K mark on Bitcoin, breaking through 4,000 on ETH. I would love to see these two stick above those mental like areas, those monetary numbers, just for the health of like breaking through and staying above. Right now, we are seeing a little bit of a cool off. We broke up, and then we've been trending up, and then just kind of fluctuating. I'd love to see the buying pressure continue here. If we see this start to fall off, if we see funding rates start to increase, if we see open interest numbers go the wrong direction, this probably won't last. But as of right now, we're looking pretty healthy. Again, just let's monitor that. Don't get too convinced that this is only going to be up only. You do need to go and check those KPIs, and those are the KPIs to be monitoring. You can either go on X or just Google them, and you can find some pretty good resources on how to track those. Solana, it's kind of been just in this little window between 120 and 150. Moving up and down since we had that big move up from the hundreds low that we were in. We're probably going to continue in this little channel moving up, not expecting anything too crazy there. But the thing to understand is we're back in Solana shitcoin season. Whether you like it or not, it is in full bull mode there. I hadn't used like Jupe. If you weren't using Jupiter and you weren't trading Jupe, that coin has definitely come back, as we have seen attention rotate back into shitcoins. Notably, we had Grifter, a Kevin Rose meme coin. We had Nick after our buddy, all Nick went absolutely viral on the timeline over the weekend for his Choose Rich meme. And then we had other meme coins all within there, the Solana ecosystem that were being traded. It's picking back up again. The thing I will say is understand the meme coin market. A lot of the stuff that you are seeing now that's coming are the 99%, the 99.9% that aren't going to last. The coins that have really gotten into that like cultural moment have already kind of been established over the bear. So your Mogs, your Doges, which have been around, the memes, Pepes. So just understand that when you have an opportunity to take profit or take initial money off the table, take it and then let the rest ride if you want to be a true degenerate. But do understand, again, while we are kind of early in the cycle, there is a lot of downside within the meme coin market where over the longest time scale, your money is going to go to zero just because of inherently what they are. So understand that. Looking at the rest of the market, we're hanging pretty solid. Not seeing anything too crazy. Meme coin market, like I said, is holding pretty solid. We did see the AI sector take a little bit of a cool off, but we are hanging strong there. Notably, and I will go through these. Last week, I jumped into on the security side, buying a little bit of Robinhood, increased my Coinbase exposure a little bit. Notably, over the weekend, also diving into another meme coin, Zin. Um, I don't use Zin, but I think I like to buy meme coins, and I'll kind of walk it back until like, hey, you just told me you can buy meme coins, but a lot are going to go to zero. I think for cultural stay, if you do a comparable analysis, and again, they're meme coins, so like there is not TA, there isn't real analysis. It's all gut check, and you can use the rest as like Fugazi to convince yourself. Um, but I do think on the side of Zin, while it's like a meme and it's a joke, where I think it's super interesting to me is that Wall Street and every single guy I know on Wall Street is like a Zin addict, and it's a meme outside of crypto, and I think it's something that retail and normies can adopt into and be like, oh, that's funny, I fuck with that, I'm gonna buy some like for the meme. And I do think that there's some staying power here, so I threw a clip in at the very fucking top. I think I made a huge purchase here, and then I dollar cost averaged in, threw another clip in. I think right around zero point 0.1. So I think I'm pretty much I'm a little down on that, probably like 15-20% down. But again, scared money doesn't make money. Gonna hold that position and keep going. Again, Ronin has been on an absolute tear over the weekend, moving higher and higher. We do see Ronin over $4. The big bet here on the gaming sector is that, and again, if Ron's not on your radar, it should be. But within the different geographic locations of gaming, Ron's South Korean user base and South Asia user base, this is the coin that a lot of people are trying to get exposure to that demographic through, just because of its popularity and the use cases for it within that geographic region. Especially within gaming, we do think that a lot of people are going to be moving into that bull case there. Just more people moving and rotating their money there. Gaming sector proving to be stronger and stronger and have more upside than a lot of other areas, and also a little bit easier to execute on to an extent. There's I'll put a apostrophe there. So that should be on your radar as well. What else? I mean, I made a whole bunch of notes going into this. Portal also on the radar as well. I like to look when things get quiet. I talked about Crypto Undeads the other day. Crypto Undeads were one of those that like had all everybody's attention. It's gone away. Poof, nobody's talking about it. Portal, you literally could not open the timeline 2 weeks ago and not have the word portal just be blasted in your face. Today, you don't see it as much. I don't think this means anything has changed fundamentally with it. I think it offers an opportunity when attention is elsewhere to move in before we start to see these move ups and people start buying. Obviously, the Binance launch pool, if you've studied that, I do think that this has a case to go towards $4. That's at least my thesis against it. And I'm going to continue to hold and watch this play out. It should be on your radar as well. Let's look at NFTs. NFTs have been interesting because you're probably losing money on them right now, which sucks. I'm down like 30% on my entire NFT portfolio from like late January to now. We've really seen them get hammered. Pudgy Penguins and Bored Ape Yacht Club being the notable ones. What is crazy to me, what is really crazy to me is Bored Ape Yacht Club is down to 15 ETH4, absolutely getting slammed. The entire Yuga ecosystem is getting completely slammed. Mutants 2.4, Pudgies staying pretty solid here on the 1 day change. Pretty flat. Again, over the 1 week though, we did see them all the way up at 21 point. We're all the way back down to 13.5. But if you look at the entire Yuga ecosystem, it's getting slammed right now. We've also seen a lot of other collections getting slammed because of loan issues. That is something that needs to be on your attention. The same way I talked about watching the majors for their open interest, their funding rates, ETF inflows, those sorts of KPIs that you can use to actually get like the health, the fundamental health of the asset. And we'll talk about like the 3 layers of how like valuation or pricing are kind of formulated in a second here. But if you look at the NFT market, I think you need to start looking. If you go to the founders of Ghost Logs, they have a service where you can look at all of the loans across market and get some pretty solid information there. That should be something you're looking at. But again, the rest of the ecosystem, the 1 day and the 7 day, where there's so much. Look, it's just a lot of red. I don't even have to read off names or anything. There's been a lot of red. Everything's selling off. It's not great. It's not good. It's painful. It really sucks, right? It comes down to the opportunity cost of money. That's all it is. If I have 2 ETH in a doodle, is that 2 ETH going to turn into 2.5 ETH? And while ETH does whatever it does, or can I take 2.5? Can I take that 2 ETH, throw it into, who knows, Portal? I'll just take a coin, and can I turn that 2 ETH, make a 25% gain, turn that into 2.5 ETH? I'm leveraging, I'm returning capital. That is the question everybody has in their mind. Also, what narratives are taking place? Nobody's really talking about NFTs right now. It is DeFi central right now. If you weren't here last cycle, the way it worked is there's DeFi summer, and then into the fall, then we started to get the Top Shot craze, CryptoPunks craze. And then as we kind of cycled into 2021, that's when you really started to get the core rotation out of DeFi, out of tokens, into NFTs. And that narrative really took over. And there were some catalysts around that. Don't think it just happened organically. Definitely some catalysts. And then we had the Bored Ape Yacht Club moment of that taking over the media side and the money maker narrative. But right now it's very cold. It doesn't mean you should be exiting bags, but if you are somebody who's over allocated here, you're definitely going to feel it. I don't think it's going to end soon. One of the questions I got from the Discord, the 555 members, which is my Discord if you don't know, today was, where am I looking within this ecosystem of NFTs, not only on ETH, but if we go to Magic Eden, if we look at what is happening here on Ordinals, on Solana, where am I putting my attention? I think this is hard, right? It comes down to like, what is your thesis for NFTs as a whole? If your thesis is around, hey, I think that this cycle, lending against assets is going to be the main driver of value accrual, then you should be looking at the absolute most blue chip, and you should be looking at the lending market and seeing who has the best lending rates, who is getting the most LTV. You're most likely going to settle on, hey, I should be allocating to either the top PFP project that I think is going to have long stay, or to the easy one is Punks, right? Like, it's just going to be Punks. Or you should be saying, hey, I think Ordinals, this is it. They've had their fly up. They had their hyperbolic moment. There is a cooling off period here. I still think that there's an incredible amount of money to inflow into Ordinals market. I'm going to go buy a Node Monkey. Or you could be saying, and this is one of my main theses, which is I believe that AI art is going to have an incredibly strong narrative this cycle. I think that we're going to see more people in traditional art institutions buying it and also doing auctions around it, Sotheby's and Christie's. I do think that with the rise of the blockchain, the most hand-in-hand art that you can see go alongside that is either generative or AI. Just because of its natural kind of like link to that medium that it's being done on. So that's kind of how I'm approaching this. If we do look at the Ordinals market, it's pretty interesting to look at this. We had all of that craziness fly in. As I just mentioned, we did see this market cool off. If I zoom out from the last 24 hours and I just go last month, we did see this run up happen very quickly, and now we're kind of cooling off over the last bit here. Should be on, again, just things to note. Things are cooling off in areas, and the question is, like, where did this money go? all his money rotated into ordinals. Everybody was buying no monkeys. Where's that money going now? As I said at the beginning of the show, shitcoin season, Solana meme coin season, Solana derivatives that's where it rotated into. I think we're probably going to start to see that cool off a little bit throughout this week as majors are moving. Then the question is, where are we going from there? I really hate doing this. I hate like making predictions because, again, I don't have a crystal ball. But if I had to guess and I had to say where I'm looking and I'm most interested in, I do think that we are heading towards a season of DeFi to really pick up. I think it'll be more centered around Ethereum. And I think if you aren't looking at liquid restaking, LRTs, LSTs, Eigenlayer, who's working with Eigenlayer, you're doing yourself a disservice. You should not only understand the technology, but understand who the players are, and then understand, like, if you're really playing chess here, don't understand like where money could move to, but understand like if money were to flow deeper into there, we were to see Eigenlayer launch, what is the next kind of jump from that? How can you position yourself to capture that EV? It is a bit of a mind game. And like there is no kind of like crystal ball. You can use comparables. You can look at previous trends. You can look and talk to different people that are experts and understand who's being incentivized, who's getting grants, where money is flowing. But in my opinion, from talking to people over the last couple weeks, that is what I think is going to fuel this cycle, and probably we're going to start seeing heat up, especially as everybody is fighting more and more. And if you are to actually look at where gas fees going and who is really turning up the most use of gas fees right now, I think that kind of leads you to the answer as well. On that note of Ethereum, I thought I'd just note this. We're only a couple days away from EIP 4844, which is the Proto Dankshards launch. Essentially, the like TDLR here, if you aren't aware of this, one, go Google this, do some research, write it down, understand it. This is going to be more of a focus on rollups, layer 2s, and it's essentially a way to reduce the way that like we're spending for transactions. The real kind of meat and potatoes here is around the call data function and how we are basically making these little I guess like blobs. I think that is like the actual technical term for it. But essentially the long side here is less spending and a better network for you. This is also kind of part of the bull thesis against Ethereum if you aren't an Ethereum maxi, which is that with each EIP and the Ethereum Foundation improving the chain, we are seeing more and more improvements, and over time Ethereum can stay an interesting and almost kind of a better chain in other ways. I've made the comparison of Ethereum to Apple, where you might not always see Apple be the first to implement something. You'll see many other people like Android and Sony, even Solana Phone, doing things for the first time. They might not be the best, I would say, like execution of that idea, but Apple let people go out and prove it. They'll go back to the workshop, get R&D on it, and then they will put out the absolute best version of that. I kind of compare that to Ethereum, where we've seen other people come up with a sort of style of this. Ethereum let them do it. They weren't trying to be first and innovate. Let them go out, prove things, make mistakes, be the experiment. Ethereum comes back in and puts it out. Also, I thought it was cool for 4844 because this was something that came out of ETH Denver, I think either 22 or 23. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before. But now, almost exactly a year later, we are seeing the launch of something that spawned out of ETH Denver, just as ETH Denver just happened. Also, just another thing to highlight, because I almost took an L this morning. I've mentioned this on the show before. If you haven't, you need to go and check your ENS registrations. I had one that was like 3 days away from expiring. Totally forgot about it. Was on a wallet that I don't use, but I don't use as much. But it is a very valuable name for me. Just go and check. Go check all your wallets. It's gonna really suck if it expires on you. This also kind of raises the whole question around like, what are other people in this space doing? You have your Yats where you buy and own them. You have others where you basically lease them. Clusters is a big one. Understand the whole name server space and who's doing what. But regardless, go check on them. Make sure you're not losing your names. Something that is really easy to forget about, especially if you don't have your email set up with ENS and aren't getting alerts. Something that's really not hard to forget about right now is Ethereum gas prices. If you're trying to transfer an NFT right now, NFT prices are $260 for an NFT sale. Bridging's $50. A swap on average will cost you $150. Borrowing costs are $130. As much as it's part of the game, and you can't, it sucks. It's fucking terrible, guys. I don't want to go on a whole rant here, and obviously you can make your own points, and I'm reading chat. If you are watching this live, thank you again. You can make your comments, questions, etc. But the note I'll make here is that this sucks. This isn't sustainable in the long run. And if you were here for last cycle, you will know that like NFT sales at some points were like $400, $500 at really peak moments. Especially during like an art blocks drop, you could see gas spike. You were in the hundreds of Gwei, really crazy numbers. And then if you were here for other side mint, you really know the pain of the Ethereum network when it gets congested. But notably here, there are ways that we are going to see the Ethereum Foundation, EIPs address this. We are going to see more and more layer 2s emerging that also address this, and other ways of like NFT markets popping up that allow us to have almost like a transfer of assets on a different layer, reducing costs there. But also like there are companies that are coming out addressing this. Notably, we do have GasHawk, which is a company that does basically an RPC. You can use any wallet. They do have some other things coming, like as a Chrome extension. They let you optimize. You can save a ton of money. Just thought I'd note them. But honestly, looking at Gwei this morning was the most painful thing. I went to go accept a bid on an NFT this morning, and I saw the price to transfer it. And I decided not to take the money. I'm going to wait. But painful, very painful. I just want to also note this real quick. So we saw earlier that we are above 4,000, above 70,000. The timeline was like kind of excited. There were definitely some memes. We saw like Loop post about it. We saw, I think even KBM was posting about it. There was some like, oh yeah, we made it. I don't feel euphoric. I don't know about everybody watching. But it was like, woo, we made it. And then went around like normal day. I remember the first time ETH broke 4,000 and it was pretty fucking crazy. I remember when Bitcoin broke 50K, that was like fucking crazy. Like that you could really feel the energy that was in the air. You could really feel that like the entire space was excited. Right now, dude, like no, like everybody's like, cool, we made it. Like this was expected. All right, carry on. Like I hope we stay here. I think that also speaks to how early we are in the space currently. Also kind of speaks to like what the cycle as a whole and an ecosystem is expecting the I guess next following few months are going to look like. I don't think we'll get that euphoric moment until $100,000 Bitcoin. Probably won't get euphoric a moment for Ethereum until we get all-time highs, which 4,500, but it really is probably going to come around 5K. Those are numbers that the media can also like. They're like literally headline perfect numbers. 5K, 10, 100,000. There's stuff that grabs people's attention. 6-figure Bitcoin is also a great one. I think that's where you really start to see retail, traditional media pick up, run with it. And obviously on our side of things, you're going to see funds, etc., really lean into that, because the liquidity event for a lot of these people is seeing retail come in, prices start to soar up, there's buying pressure, and you can actually start to get things off the books in size, tens of millions of dollars in size. That will be an interesting one to pay attention to. But just thought I'd mention, like, didn't feel like a whole party this morning. Rotating back to, again, attention and what are people, narrative, etc. the party for Portal has pulled back. But I do think this is something to keep attention on. We have seen them make some announcements. The number one thing, or the two number one things, the two number one things you should be focused on with Portal are staking as well as nodes. These are things that we're still waiting for announcements around on pricing, on numbers, on who's involved, what the timeline for this stuff looks like. Disclosure again, I am an early seed investor in Portal. I'm not really like trying to pump my bags. Like, sure, like I want price to go up, but at the same time, I do think that there's enough of like exposure on the ecosystem around Portal, and they have had enough attention on them that it will be very, very interesting to see how one of the late bear kind of blossoms is going to play out as the bull market starts to roll up and start to really get some steam going against it. The same thing kind of comes with Reach, another company that launched just at the end of the bear. We've seen more and more people talking about this. Mooncat obviously yesterday was retweeting a bunch of stuff that they were doing. I've been talking to them more and more. They're integrated to my server. I think as you start to see attention economy on the timeline pick up, you'll start to see even more people rotate into using their service. And at the end of the day, that drives value back to the token. And then the same thing of Juice. As we start to see Blast, who here who's watching, who's talked about like Blast intensely in the last 24 hours, 48 hours? I don't think a lot of people have. It's calmed down. They're still executing, but they've hit some bumps. I think there's some confusion in the air around points. The number one thing to understand within the Blast ecosystem right now is the term looping. If you haven't heard or talked about the word looping right now within the Blast ecosystem, you are missing out. I actually had somebody like walk me through this earlier today. I wasn't aware of this, but if you do go to DeFi Llama, which is an analytics service, you can actually go and see like how much leverage is being like looped through an ecosystem. I believe right now there's like average like 3x leverage being looped through the Blast ecosystem, to give you an idea of like who's trying to make a dollar go the longest, and getting yield, points, gold, whatever it might be. And basically, again, taking a dollar and running it through a bunch of things, looping through and making that dollar work and be utilized as 3. It's the same joke that I make around like taking a dollar, buying some ETH with it, buying a punk with that ETH, and then taking that punk, getting a loan against it, taking that loaned ETH, putting it in Swell, taking the Swell, putting it on Eigenlayer, there are ways to make a dollar really, really work in this ecosystem. Again, there's risk there. Understand that you are basically leveraging up on that initial dollar, and that can unwind pretty quickly if one of those pieces within their break. And I've compared it to again, it's not going to look the same, but it does give me like that 2008 financial crisis vibe. Sorry to be like a fucking doomsday guy, but like, again, just like that's where my brain goes. But understand within the Blast ecosystem, because we don't have as much attention there, and that isn't like being streamed in your faces, and kind of that initial hype is worn off, there's still opportunity there. And you should be looking at the different companies within the space. And you should also be looking at ways to make that dollar work the hardest for you. Don't go and throw it into something that's going to make you 5% APY, because there are ways to make that dollar really generate a lot of money for you. In some cases, there are just straight up 25% APYs. I know Juice has some options there, but there are ways to go and do a loan, take that, get points, farm through different ecosystems, and loop. Again, that's the key word. You probably can just search that on Twitter for Blast looping strategies and get some. I won't push any on you. Obviously, it's nothing new. I didn't discover it. Just something you should have on your radar. Also, something you should have on your radar. You've probably seen this on the timeline for people asking, what app is that? If you haven't, you're missing out. Another Blast ecosystem company. They did, I think, end up winning one of the prizes. It's a SocialFi and gaming company within the Blast ecosystem. Oh, damn, I'm in 6 680th place. That's actually sick. I have not done this well. This is okay. A little flex for the live stream. Fantasy.top is the name of the company. That's the URL, fantasy.top. They do basically, it's a trading card game with SocialFi leverage. You're able to mint different card packs. They're still in testing. If you want to check this out, you might need a referral link for that, or need to have something. You can just type in my name, Hunter Orel. There's other people as well. I'm not sure if I have more referrals. If I don't, just like tweet at me or tag the team in the timeline and ask for an invite or a referral link. But I do think regardless, you should be looking at this, because from a friend tech perspective, the economy of culture here is that everybody who has a card is going to want to be performing well on the timeline, and they do want that kind of like clout of being like, oh yeah, I won, like the winner of the tournament did really well because he had my card, I performed well. There's an entire trading marketplace here where after you mint, if you have somebody who wasn't worth a lot and all of a sudden they start popping off on the timeline, you could see their card become a lot of money. Again, this is basically testnet ETH, so don't think that the prices are real here, but I do expect pricing on mainnet when they launch on Blast to get a little crazy. But again, every week there are tournaments. Those tournaments basically have, right now, there are about 13,000 people playing in the tournament. You get cards, ETH, and points as rewards for interacting. Right now, obviously, interacting early with the protocol can set you up for some of their points and airdrop or whatever you want to call it, and get yield out of being an early user. Again, if you don't have this on your radar, go check it out. I like what they're doing. The team's really smart. Trying to think how far I can go with what I know, but I do know that they're going to do well, and I do think they're going to attract a lot of attention. And I thought I would point them out. And I think attention is probably going to be like one of those core things that I talk about every single time I do these shows. I talk a lot about the attention economy. I always make this joke that I would like write a book based around Web3 called The Community Economy. More and more though, I feel like I'm screaming every day about like, hey, where is attention going? It's here, it's going to go there. We really do live in the attention economy. And that's because when you look at like the pricing of an asset, I talked about this, I think it's pretty fucking clear with, if you look at Ethereum, if we go to our good old Bored Ape Yacht Club boys, if we talk about the valuation of an asset and how you look at the actual underlying value, there's 3 levels to it. I'm going to make sure they're right. The layer 1 is fundamentals, layer 2 is technicals, and then the layer 3 to that is really about momentum. So the underlying value of, you know, what a Bored Ape Yacht Club is, at one point, like that fundamental underlying value was essentially that like airdrops are coming, etc. Like there are very, very like it's on Ethereum. It's one of the early ones. Large funds are picking it up. They're the most like those are fundamental things to look at. Then on the technical side, you know, charts going up. Technically, they are building out different things to, you know, partnerships, etc. Those are technical things that you can look at. But we mostly operate like 90% of what we operate on the NFT side. And especially, I would say overall within crypto, Bitcoin and Ethereum have really on the fundamental and technical since the ETF, since we've seen some of these other initiatives, Wall Street, VCs, banking, really kind of like say, hey, we are going to start buying this. You have to look at the fundamentals more. But like a meme coin, fundamentals don't mean jack shit. You can look at like has the LP has it been burned? What was the distribution model there? Who are the founders? Are they known rugger? Like there's some like fundamentals for you, but the rest of it is truly like, is the meme good? Is it moving up? Are more people talking about it? Or more people buying it? Like, is the momentum? And that's at layer 3. So mostly everything we do is operating on that layer 3 of momentum. I would break down that momentum around community and attention. So is the community good, and is the attention economy for that strong? And then on a relative scale of like 0 to 100, is that attention where is that attention level? And if you would say like, hey, like right now, Bored Ape Yacht Club on the attention level is like a 20 out of 100, right? Like there's attention there, but purely just because it used to be there, and attention's moving away. We don't see them talking a ton about like the other side. We don't see them talking about initiatives. Really, it's been around royalties and whatnot. However, then if you go and look at something on Ethereum, like let's just take Pudgy Penguins for the easiest example here. The attention here, it's like at a 50, right? We saw them have a huge attention spike when they were up at 20, and the whole narrative around them was Bored Ape Yacht Club versus Pudgy Penguins. Right now, you could say Pudgy Penguins still have a ton of attention on them because of what Luca's doing on the gaming, the merchandising, and content side of things. But you could also say that that attention's only rising. Like Pudgy Penguins are only going to get more and more attention as they roll things out. And as that attention grows and as more people are talking about them and aware of them, the value gets driven back to that asset. And so while you might not actually see things like, oh, like not every Pudgy Penguin's going to get revenue share from what they sell in clothing, but because of that attention, the underlying asset becomes more valuable. And that's how we value things in this space. Hopefully that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, you can tell me to fuck off and, or explain it better. But again, there's 3 levels to valuation. It's the fundamentals of the actual asset, momentum being the third, and then the middle layer being technical. And we operate obviously within that momentum attention community layer for the most part. One asset that's pretty immune to a lot of the bullshit that we see, which is like fundamentals and technicals and even the attention economy, are CryptoPunks. Purely because their general thesis and valuation is around being early, being significant, notable, the provenance around the art, and kind of starting off this entire conversation around NFTs. Currently, the CryptoPunks market sitting at 50 ETH floor. Floor is not looking too terrible. There are some floors I would pick up here. You're looking at right now at a 50 ETH floor, $202,000. We did see this floor spike all the way up to like 230,000 at one point. So we are pulling back just a little bit, like a 6% pullback there. And it is interesting to watch this, as I do kind of consider the CryptoPunks market kind of like that pulse on the entire ETH market. If we start to see these absolutely rip, or there starts lots of action on the buying for this, you could understand if money is flowing in or flowing out. But now, on top of just looking at the floor buys and sells for the CryptoPunks market, the important area to be also looking is on the loan side. What's the average LTV? What's the average length? Where are those loans being taken out on? Obviously, Gandhi being one of the main areas that we are seeing. So Gandhi is a great place to go and check out. But there are services that accumulate all of those loans in one spot. You can check on the health of them for LTV versus base asset value. Punks, for the most part, again, are the kind of gold blue chip standard for the loan market currently. I don't know if I can go and check out where we currently have seen sell recently. Obviously, we just had an alien sale. We had a zombie sale, I think, recently. Here we go. Recent sales currently over the last day. We've seen pretty much everything around the floor. 2 days ago, we did have the top hat go. Or not top hat, the spinner hat. Nothing too crazy, though, within the last 24 hours. All around the floor, a pretty solid wild hair, big sunglasses. The tennis band pair, love this. Great, like a couple. But nothing too crazy. Definitely keep your eye on the market, though, there. It's one that I will be keeping my eyes on for sure. Again, this is a daily show I do. If you haven't already, you can go to my bio, go subscribe to YouTube. If you enjoy this, it means and helps, and really actually helps me a ton. We are bringing the content back after a long hiatus, and I am excited to keep doing this. If you have feedback, if you want to see me talk about something, if you think I missed something, let me know either in the DMs or, again, leave a comment below, and I will check it out. We'll catch you on the next one. Enjoy the markets. Don't lose all your money and stay profitable. We'll catch you again on the next one. Peace, everybody.